So, hello everyone, welcome to the session today. I'm going to introduce Mia if you do not know us already. We are the largest coaching and most impactful leadership development company in India. We collaborate with the clients on a gamut of offerings, so learning interventions, coaching interventions. We also do certifications for coaching people and manager as a coach kind of program and support all this using assessments. We have almost 1700 hours of coaching that we have done with the clients, almost 150 plus businesses impacted, and almost 9,000 plus employees trained. So those are just a few numbers about us. Now you can move to the next one. We do all this using our Mirac platform. So all our training and coaching interventions are facilitated on our own proprietary platform. So the training interventions are available even post the program as a recording for participants to sort of go and view them. So it is helping us deliver the learning and coaching interventions at scale organization. Yeah. About Latha, speaker today. Welcome, Latha. Thank you so much for agreeing to this, and for in spite of your schedule today, agreeing and being here. Latha is the CHRO for Zaggle. It's a profitable SaaS fintech company, and they recently listed on the Indian Stock Exchange. And Latha has been instrumental as a part of this journey from a bootstrap startup to a publicly listed company. So many congratulations for that, Latha. She has
Thank you.
almost 18 years of experience in talent management and OD across various verticals. So apart from SaaS and fintech, she has expertise in life sciences. She's also managed in FMCG and consulting and market research. She is also award winner in terms of Young HR 2019, and she's won 40 under 40 awards in 2023 by Business World. So yeah, speaks for herself, the kind of work that she has done here in this field. Uh, Her focus areas include strategic leadership hiring, organization development, building high performance culture, enhancing employee experience, and effective business partnering with the organization. I'm very glad to welcome you, Lada. All yours.
Thank you so much, Shikha. Thank you very much. I think you have a good. Uh, I've been told by Chandna that you have a set of questions, and we'll take it one by one.
Sure. So we want to keep it interactive, everyone. We just go by the question answer kind of a format where Lata will, share her expertise and experience. Feel free to contribute, ask questions, or collaborate wherever you think, you can, right? So the most basic, Lata, what is growth mindset and how does it differ from a fixed mindset for an organization?
Okay. So, in my view, I'll talk about individuals. Okay. So, anybody with a growth mindset actually believes that with effort, with the pursuit of learning and commitment to growth, right? Any kind of capabilities and skill sets can be developed. Somebody who is not fixated with the thought that, okay, this is something that I cannot do, but rather believes that, if I put in effort and channelize my energies in the right direction, I should be able to achieve this, right? So somebody with a positive and open mindset um, towards learning, right? Or facing any kind of challenges and looking at failures as an opportunity to learn. Okay, that is a growth mindset in my view. Like I said, fixated mindset would mean somebody who believes that there are certain skill sets or traits or personality traits that are inherently static, right? They can't be changed. Um, that's a fixated mindset. This is my view on growth mindset and fixated mindset.
Sure, sure. Definitely agree to that. And with that, like, why this that is cultivating a growth mindset important for a team dynamic?
Team, sorry.
Team dynamics. Why is growth mindset, important according to you for a team dynamic?
So if you have a growth mindset in teams, right, in organizations, what happens is you are resilient, right? You build resilience. You are open, you are adaptable, and and you look at making progress towards a certain direction. And if everyone in the team, looks or behaves in a similar fashion, which is looking at opportunities to grow, they actually are more likely to support each other, right? So that actually fosters collaboration. They can work as a team, embrace diverse ideas, look at creative ways to solve a problem, look at innovation as an opportunity, right? So these are teams that actually work together, and they all view at setbacks or failures or roadblocks as opportunities to change the strategy or course correct, right? So these are teams that actually work together more cohesively as compared to other teams. So it's absolutely critical for um, for leaders or organizations to foster this kind of a mindset across the teams that they have in the organization. If I'm not answer that correctly.
So, and and how can a leader who is in this organization, right, some such organization, ensure that it is happening with their teams, within their teams, or maybe parallel teams? How do you drive it through?
Um, so leaders see it starts from the top, right? Culture is set, the tone is set at the top. If leaders are able to show their vulnerable side, right? If they don't shy away from talking about failures, they don't shy away from sharing their own learning experiences from their own mistakes. Okay, so they create a safe space for other people to also follow through. Right? So if you are able to um, encourage experimentation, risk taking, could be calculated risk taking, and encourage curiosity in teams, you would have done a great deal of fostering a mindset that is open to learn, open to grow, open to feedback, open to develop newer skills, and is continuously learning, right? So leaders can foster uh, growth mindset in teams by being vulnerable, by being open, and by focusing on not just the results or outcomes, but focusing on the progress that the team is making, the baby steps that the team is taking, or the effort that the team is putting in moving in a certain direction.
So, Latha, one thing that is coming up for me, while the leader does that, right? But it is still a risk taking, right? And sometimes there might be failures, right? So, as an organization, how do you ensure that is getting balanced, right? Because you cannot afford a lot of failures. That is also something that you'll have to sort of drive through.
Yes, but if you don't, embrace experimentation or failures, or not take a chance, then you will never make progress, right? For that's the basic fundamental. For you to make progress, you will have to look at newer ways of doing things. You can't make progress with a fixated mindset. So, so like I said, calculated risks, failing fast, as they say, taking small risks, learning from the mistakes and not repeating them. These are some of the things that probably leaders could inculcate in teams, rather than taking major risks, or it's a very risky proposition to not even experiment, right? So rather than being fixated, I think leaders should encourage risk taking in a safer environment, uh, in small measures, learn from probably competition, learn from their own past mistakes, and ensure that there is risk taking, there is experimentation that's happening continuously, and there is learning also that's happening continuously.
Sure, sure. There is a question from Priya. She's saying, can you share techniques which were used to introduce, emphasize, and cultivate the same?
Techniques, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I sorry, I don't have any specific techniques to recommend here. But like I said, it is the environment that you're able to create within the organization, right? If you're able to create a safe environment for people to be able to express themselves, for people to take small chances, embrace newer ideas, embrace diverse ideas, but all of the efforts moving in a certain direction. So the purpose is clearly defined, the goal is clearly defined, and that is like a basic premise, right? You can't be experimenting without knowing where you're headed. So a goal is clearly defined, and your key result areas of the objective that you've designed is also, clearly stated, then you allow people or empower people to be able to take risks, to be able to try newer things, challenge status quo. I think these are some of the things that a leader can do um, uh, to encourage growth mindset. I don't know if I answered. I forgot the question. I'm sorry.
Uh, the
It's in the
technique
chat
is
window.
what Priya asked for. Yeah. Now she's Priya. You can come off mute and ask if you want to.
Okay.
Uh,
How do you measure the goal? How do you measure if the goal has been achieved?
achieve. Yes.
Yeah, actually, we in our organization in Vodafone, I am working at the leadership level, and these are concepts, these are there, but the biggest problem is how do I measure? If I want to measure this as an initiative, how do I implement it and measure it, and how do I make sure that the teams have how do I know which team has applied it better than other teams, and how can I showcase? So what techniques, or what did you use to do that in your firm?
Okay. If you are
I would love to hear about that.
talking about the impact of growth mindset or metrics around growth
No,
mindset.
not the impact. I'm asking about implementation. How do I implement it? I know we have research in terms of what is the impact, but how do I know whether this has been applied? Which team is doing better? Which team is percolating? So how do I start to do that? Is what I want to ask.
I think, got it. If there is a specific framework you're asking, or the specific methodology through which you can implement or
No,
foster growth
actually,
mindset in an
from
organization.
your sorry about that. I mean, I would love to hear what you did in your organization. How did you implement and learn from your experience? If that is something that you
So,
could share.
so first thing is that we created a, say for example, R&R framework in a way that we celebrate not just results, but the efforts that the person has put in. If somebody has raised their hands and, has taken up a new project which is outside of their sphere of work, and that is something that we actually recognize, right? A new joinee coming on board and taking up a newer initiative which is outside of the scope of work, and going that extra mile, that is appreciated. So we started with celebrating these, smaller steps that team members take towards innovation, towards newer ideas, towards solution orientation, and that is something that we started off with. Um, and also, we looked at the number of innovative ideas that's been implemented in each of the teams, and we started looking at how many teams have actually generated newer ideas and newer ways of working, and how those ideas or new ways of working have impacted that particular team's uh, um, uh, achievement against goals, right? So that was the second thing that we did. And like I said earlier, um, your leader sets the tone at the top. So if the leader is able to create that safe environment, and that is something which you can't measure. It's in the culture of the organization. It's in the DNA. It's in the core of the organization. It's about how you look at failures, how you allow people to take up newer challenges, how you allow people to experiment, and how you empower them on a daily basis to take certain set of decisions at their level. I think all of these things really matter to create an environment that allows people to, uh, grow, allows people to learn, allows people to experiment. So these are some of the things
Thanks,
that I can probably think of. Uh,
thanks, Lata. Thanks for sharing how you kind of measured, and how it's been implement, how it has how different teams have used it. And yes, I agree completely that it's always from the top down, it's always the leaders. But then it can't be just on the leaders, right? That's where the HR and the training and the leadership development team comes in, which makes sure that it's not just the top leader, but the other leaders like around in the whole organization. And there could be like hundred thousands managers. So how do we make sure that this the same vision which the CEO might have percolates down to the managers and what they can
yeah.
do?
Yeah, it's not just the leaders. I completely agree. Your say, for example, your performance management system in a growth mindset will include a lot of regular feedback loops, right? Will include iterative goal setting. You're not fixated. You're not married to a certain goal. You will look at the situation, effort, and also the results. And as we, go along with making progress quarter on quarter, you realize that there are certain goals that needs reiteration. How much are you open to look at iterating the goal setting, and does your system or processes allow that? Okay. How do you focus on development rather than just on outcomes?
Makes sense.
How do you emphasize on looking at an individual's learning agility, growth potential rather than just looking at performance? Okay, these are some of the systems and processes that you'll have to ensure support the growth mindset agenda, right? If you're
Perfect.
going to only look at an individual's performance, you're going to be limited in your view. You need to look at the growth potential. You need to look at learning agility. In some of the organizations that I work with, in our talent review process, growth, so performance was one of the axes in the 9 box grid, and the other one was not really potential, but learning agility. And learning agility simply means how much are you open to learn? How much do you raise your hand? How much are you looking at making progress towards your own professional development, right? Mm. So if your systems and processes support uh, uh, the organization's growth mindset agenda, then it's not, the burden is not just on the leaders, but is distributed across the HR processes and systems, and that support the leader to be able to cultivate that kind of an environment. Hope I'm able to answer that.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah.
I believe there is a
Hello,
message from Ken, question from Ken.
Parinita
Yeah.
wanted to add something. I think she goes.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
allowing me that
sure,
space.
sure.
In
Yeah.
addition to what's been shared by Latha, I'd just like to say that bringing in unconditional positive regard, which is bringing in acceptance, empathy, and a positive atmosphere, which is non judgmental. So, driving UPR across, explaining to people what is that, what does unconditional positive regard mean, how it can be driven. You talked about monitoring, and I'll keep my answer very, very brief. Do a pre and post dipstick on a scale of 1 is to 10. Where are people? Where's the team? Where's the individual? We do it at 3 levels, sometimes individual, team, and organization. You can do it at 3 levels or just at individual and team level. Pre the engagement, create champions. For example, Lata's a champion, Shika's a champion, Rahul's a champion, anybody else is a champion. So create champions in the middle. You asked how will that stickiness happen? How will you drive it? Create champions. The champions will make it their job to drive it. So ऊपर से भी आ रहा है, नीचे से भी आ रहा है, and then it kind of dovetails and creates a lovely blend. And then you can have parameters for pre and post, the same parameters where do individuals and their supervisors rate them pre and post, other than the other metrics is shared. Thank you.
So,
Thank you so much, Parinita.
thank you so much, Parinita. Yes, Sridhar, you want to say
Welcome.
something? Then
Thank
we'll
you.
take Parinita. Sridhar, we cannot hear you.
Me know, Shikha?
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes.
I'll remove. Yeah, just to add, I mean, really good points have been given by Latha and of course our other participants. As she rightly said, it's all about efforts because otherwise it is abstract. Of course, the goal impacts are, yes, clearly you can find it. But the efforts, it's merely what I feel is it's all about quality and quantity. When you say growth mindset, what I'm trying to improve what I was yesterday. That's what growth is all about. Qualitatively
Yep.
and quantitatively. How it can come?
Yep.
It can come only through innovation and creativity. Be it quality, be it quantity. So people around me will be able to find out how qualitative I am, which means experimentation. I'm coming out of my comfort zone. So all these things for all to see, actually. It is demonstrable, actually. So there are no numbers, all right, but it can always be demonstrated. That's what I. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sridhar.
Thank you. Thank you. Sridhar.
Lata, there are more questions on the chat. Do you want me to take them?
Yes, I know.
Sure. So Madhumita says, what would you say might be difference between a risk taking and a gambling?
What would you say might be difference between risk taking and gambling?
Yes.
Gambling in, it's a heavy word. So gambling, in my perspective, is just like walking with your eyes closed, right? You are just taking a chance. You don't know the repercussions of your decision. You're just taking a chance. You're just walking in the dark uh, because you don't know what to do. Okay, so you probably want to just take a chance without having done enough analysis or research around how that's going to impact your goal. And that is, gambling. Risk taking, in on the other hand, would mean you exactly know, what would be the negative outcomes of the risk that you, or the decision that you're taking, or the step that you're taking, but you're okay with that because uh, you know that you're making progress in a certain direction. You may not be 100% correct, but at least you must have analyzed and weighed your pros and cons of taking that decision. I think risk taking is a lot more scientific. It's a lot more um, mathematical. You would have looked at all the potential aspects before you take a decision or before you act on something. And gambling is just like taking a chance without really knowing if I'm able to answer the question correctly. If somebody else has a better answer, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
Uh,
so
I,
much.
I really
Yeah.
like the, you are just blind part, Lata, that when you're gambling, you don't know what are you signing up for. Thank you. Can you have a feedback and I see you on camera? Do you want to ask it yourself?
Sorry, no,
No,
that was
Ken.
really nicely answered. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madhumita. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh, Ken, you want to
Kenneth,
ask it yourself? Do you want me to ask your question?
You
it's
can
okay.
go
I
and
can
ask
read
it.
it.
I'm in a noisy space. Yeah, that's why I've put it on chat.
Sure. All
Hi,
right.
Kenneth. I was looking for you, but I saw you. Just
Yeah.
hey, Kenneth. So you're saying, could you share the role of coaching and mentoring skills in driving a growth mindset with teams, and what were the initiatives around coaching and mentoring skills with managers and leaders? Uh, Not very clear on what exactly you're asking, but you're asking if there is a role that coaching and mentoring can play in
Yes.
driving growth mindset in teams. Is that what
That's
you're
right.
asking?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll give you the context. See, what we understand is with teams, the leaders and the managers would have to play an active role. As we're just talking, it is top down at the end of the day to drive that kind of mindset. And largely, coaching and mentoring, the different kind of an approach of engaging team members,
Yeah.
understanding where their challenges are at, tends to yield better results. I just wanted to get your input and your experience on that front. Seeing if coaching and mentoring has played a role. Has it been a lot of engaging external coaches to do this for them, or is it training the leaders internally to be effective as coaches, to be effective as mentors for their team members? What's sort of been your experience in your work?
Oh, absolutely. Coaching and mentoring is very critical because it gives you a little bit of an outside-in perspective. It gives you opportunity to reflect on your own behavior, and you are able to see things that probably you were not able to before the coach actually nudged you in that certain direction, right? Coaching and mentoring is absolutely critical. But when I say that, I say it with a lot of responsibility. I'll tell you why. See, whatever I said in terms of being vulnerable, focusing on the efforts rather than the outcomes, celebrating the efforts rather than the outcome, and a lot of other things that I mentioned about leadership behaviors, right? It's not natural, it's not easy, it doesn't come easily to a lot of people, right? It's very, good to hear, easy to, I mean, it sounds very easy, but it's very, very difficult. It's actually, very core to your personality. I, as a person, I am, an open person. You know me, right? So I am a very, I am very open. I am absolutely okay to be vulnerable in front of my team. I'm okay to look silly. I'm okay to ask dumb questions. I don't mind. That's a part of my personality. but it doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. I do a lot of reflection. I think a lot about, what uh, I did, and the decisions that I took and how I could have done better. Um, of course, these are things that other people also do, but being vulnerable, being open, celebrating just the effort. See, I have come across a lot of solid leaders who actually feel that, if you appreciate, if you don't set a very high bar and celebrate impactful things, you would dilute the power of recognition itself. So they would not really, put an effort to celebrate smaller efforts. They will not be open to being vulnerable in front of the team because they think that they will lose control, they will lose respect, and all of things. So if you have to really create a growth or foster a growth mindset in teams, you got to be very open, to growth, to progress as a leader. You should be open to develop skill sets in your team members for which you yourself need coaching and mentoring at times. So I definitely feel it's a very, very important tool to for leaders to be able to embrace, you know, uh, ris- risk taking, to be able to build resilience, to be able to learn from failures and be okay with it. So yeah, I think I was able to answer your question. I hope.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Thanks so much for that.
Okay. Any more questions?
There is one from Kriti. Uh, she says, is individual mindset different from company mindset? Can both coexist? What happens if the individual has a growth mindset and organization culture rewards other behavior? Right. So, what should be a coach's approach in this scenario?
Absolutely, individual mindset is different from company mindset. You may be in a company, unfortunately, which is not, which is averse to risk taking, which is not very open to experimentation, which doesn't foster that kind of culture or mindset in the organization. But you as an individual are a growth oriented person, are is someone, so you will personally grow as an individual, as a professional, if you embrace growth mindset. That's my view.
Kriti, I hope you got the answer to your question. Do
And
you
if you are able to influence others in the team, others in the organization, you would have helped at least a bunch of people to move in that direction. But you can't expect organizations and individuals mindset to be the same. They will be different. Sometimes you are able to influence more people in the organization, and sometimes you are influenced yourself if the organization is a growth oriented organization and you are not.
Thank you, Latha. Nariman has a question. Nariman, you want to ask it yourself? Do you want me to ask?
Sure, I can ask. So, Latha, in your setup, in your organization, when you have been trying to drive a growth mindset, what are some unique challenges you have faced, or does somebody doing this in organization faces, and how did you navigate through that?
Thank you so much for that question, Nariman. See, what happens is, yes, there are you know challenges that you face when an organization is very successful. That is definitely when you face challenges in making or influencing change, right? It's working for them. Whatever, their mindset is, it's working for them. They are successful. They are not necessarily looking at uh, growth, expansion, progress in a big way. It is complacent. The organization is happy. Uh, and is not willing to experiment, is not willing to. I've been a part of such setups. Um, it is difficult, you can try and influence with a lot of data. I think data is the fuel, right, for any kind of change. If you are able to back your um, uh, strategy or advice to your management with a lot of data on how things work differently in a different context, in a different organization, or in a competitive organization, and how the organization will stand to benefit if they are able to look at things slightly differently. If you're able to challenge status quo with the right intent and data, I think you should be able to influence your leadership. I have been able to. Um, yeah, but it becomes very difficult when, especially when the organization is doing extremely well. And you know that there is so much scope for the organization to grow. There is so much that is possible if the organization is able to embrace a little bit of, innovation, experimentation. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shaheen is saying, in an atmosphere of static or rigid mindset, how would you advise someone to pursue their growth mindset? It sounds more like swimming against the tide.
In an atmosphere of static and rigid mindset, yeah, which is quite possible. Like I said, an individual's mindset is going to be very difficult. But I think, you know what? I believe 90% of your profile, individual profile, is driven by you as an individual. It's really the individuals, the choices that the individual makes on a day-to-day basis, uh, that actually dictates or that defines the scope of role, the possibilities. I know there'll be certain areas where you will not be able to take decisions. You'll not be able to go beyond your, sphere of control or span of control. But at an individual level, there is a lot that you can do. It doesn't really matter if the organization is extremely static and rigid. Like I said, if you're able to influence your leadership, if you're able to influence your colleagues, your management, that is a great win. But that you'll be able to do with a lot of data and a lot of, persistence, right? So that's absolutely critical. So, but I think I keep advising my team that you are not just working for the organization, you're actually working for your resume, right? You spend 1 year, 2 years in my team or in the organization. If you don't do work which is impactful, which is going to make you look great as a candidate after 2 years, 2 years, 3 years, you would have done a lot of injustice to yourself, right? So you're not necessarily working just for the organization, you're working for your resume. That's something that I keep telling my teams. So don't think that you're doing this for someone, for an organization, you're doing it for yourself.
That's a beautiful way to look at it, Latha. Thank you. Shruti, you want to contribute something?
Yeah, actually, thank you, Shikha, for allowing me to do that. I was just listening to all the questions and the replies that were coming in. I was just driving a little while back. So there was a discussion around, the matrices that, the measurements that could come in when to measure whether there is a growth mindset or how much is it. I think if not a direct matrix or a direct measurement, there is always another indirect measurement to it, because out of my experience, I'm not very much high in experience. Like it's like, oh, I'm only 15 years in the corporate, and I have seen that growth mindset is also conducive. So I have seen my team members getting influenced when another team member is learning and growing. So if it's me, so that's inducted into them as well, and they start adopting certain things after learning or seeing that, okay, we also need to probably change our attitude or approach. So one particular example is, since I come from a background of production and production and manufacturing industry, distribution, supplies, so there is a certain change in the number of, the whatever is the number of your units of production or whatever it is, because of the approach that the people start taking, because they're learning everything, something new. We have been able, as a team, we have been able to reduce the number of strikes in a plant. We have been able to reduce the number of hours of downtime in our plant because we learned how to make them better. So there are numbers which will not tell the percentage of growth mindset that has happened, but because of the growth that has happened. So I think if we find a measure, there absolutely is a measure which has a different name, but it happened because of the growth mindset that was conducive to the team because of one or two people. So that is out of my experience that I wanted to add at that point in time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shruti, for that.
Yeah, and I think that helps everybody who was asking if the organization is not supporting. I think that's a wonderful way to look at it. If you drive it with your dreams and actually help them drive it for themselves, then there will be changes, there will be number, there will be data that will show up, right, which will help to convince the leadership, the management, right, to sort of spread it across within the organization. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Ruti, for that.
Yeah, and also I think one more thing, one more aspect to look at would be the engagement scores in a team, right? A team that is growing, that's able to recover faster from failures. If there is improved, collaboration, cohesiveness within the team, there's improved communication. There is increased willingness to take new challenges, and ability to take new challenges. I think the engagement scores should show that your engagement scores will be much higher. And that would be also one of the metrics to look at.
Definitely. Thank you, Latha. Rahul, you have a question you want to ask it yourself? I see you on video.
Yeah, my question is, can you really change the mindsets of people and the team members working with you? Because they come with a lot of different backgrounds, academic experience, work experience, and there's a lot of crafting that has already happened inside, and hence the mindsets are created. So, yeah, what is your experience? Do you really see people changing mindsets, or there's something different magic that happens? I would like to hear your experience there.
Thank you for the question, Rahul. I think leaders can do a great deal in managing. First of all, I think it starts with identifying the right set of people for your team, right? If you are looking at an individual's learning agility, if you're looking at an individual's learning agility right at the start, when you are making a decision to hire that individual, that I think is a great step, or a very important step for you to build a team that is growth oriented, right? You want people who are ambitious, you want people who are who want to make progress in life, and that is something that you can assess right at the start. So even if they come from different backgrounds, if that is one of your parameters, I think that is a great way to build a team, right? And if you have inherited a team, okay, you've not got the opportunity to uh, hire these people, you've inherited the team, then you can do, again, you can do a lot of things as a leader. The kind of behaviors that you appreciate, right? If you are celebrating, like I said earlier, if you're celebrating just results and outcomes, then you're not creating an environment for people to put efforts or experiment, okay? Because you're only talking about results, and results are mostly predefined. Say, for example, you have goals that are set. Your achievement against those goals are basically the results that you're measuring. But you as a leader can celebrate certain behaviors in the team, can celebrate certain efforts, can show your vulnerable side, talk about failures, and look at failures in a different light, right? Everything, right from your body language to the way you react to roadblocks, to the way you react to setbacks. I think that sets the tone, okay? So as a leader, you can do you can make or break, right? You can actually totally influence the mindset of your team members. That is what I strongly believe, if you yourself are a growth oriented person.
And just a question in extension is, have you come across leaders who have shown a strong, rigid, fixed mindset and hence difficult to lead the teams or change the mindset of the team members?
Oh, absolutely. And that is when coaching and mentoring comes into play, right? When you identify a leader, who's fixated in his mindset, maybe doing well in the role that he or she is playing, but needs to, grow as a leader, needs to inculcate the mindset of growth within teams. And you see that as a shortcoming. I think coaches can help in a big way to influence these leaders, to help these leaders on refining some of those aspects uh, that can help the team to embrace growth mindset. Yeah.
Thank you, Latha.
I know I have obviously come across all kinds of leaders. So yes, you're absolutely right. That's a very common scenario.
Sure. Priya, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, in my experience, no leaders will accept that they are being fixated or they need help. So how do you even address that? That is a bigger thing, to even to identify and get, because the moment till now it's like a taboo, right? You can't, as a leader's leader, I the leader can't say that, okay, you need coaching, because the moment you say that you need coaching, it becomes that it's a gray area and you need to work upon, you need help, right? So
Yeah.
how do you handle that?
I think if the leader is not open to constructive feedback and exchange of feedback, it's just not about giving feedback, giving and taking feedback. Okay, that is a huge indicator, right? How willing is the leader to take on uncomfortable or uncomfortable tasks, or in situations that he or she is not very familiar or comfortable with. How open the leader is, or how the leader approaches challenges, right? These are some of the things that indicate a leader's mindset. Okay, is there a blame culture in the organization, or is the leader looking at problems constantly and not looking at solutions? These are some of the indicators that really tells you how the leader operates, right? And if you have enough data points, should be able to go and confront, or constructively give that feedback to the leader and see how the leader can change. And it's absolutely critical for you to give that feedback and ensure that there is a noticeable shift, and the leader actually embraces the growth mindset that you want to foster in the organization. If that's not happening, then you have to take a call. You have to obviously try and help the leader as much as possible. But if the leader is not willing to change, then it's on you, how you approach the situation and the entire problem. You don't want the team to be held back just because of the leader's attitude towards challenges, towards um, newer areas of or newer ways of working.
Thanks.
Thank you, Priya. Oh, Latha, I would, want to also hear from you, from your experience, your expertise, right? Any particular specific scenario that you think was the most challenging one for you to address, right? Or for your exposure to sort of
Most challenging situation. Sorry,
towards it.
Shikha, you said the most challenging situation on any kind of leadership, issues is when you're the founder or someone right at the top has these issues, right? Who else do you escalate this to, or how do you address this? It becomes very difficult, and that is probably the most challenging situation that I have come across, when your founder uh, the most senior person in the organization. And if it's not a global organization, if it's a global organization, there must be some, reporting metrics. The person must be reporting into someone else in a different region. Could be, right? Uh, but yes, when you are dealing with a tough founder who's fixated in his or her views, it becomes very challenging. You have to figure out ways. You have to use. Um, there is no, uh, I would say, set way of handling or tackling such a leader. Right? It's different strokes for different kind of individuals, right? You have to see what ticks, what will make the leader listen to you, what will help the leader be open to what you're saying, and again, a lot of data that proves that, first of all, proves your intent, the data that proves that the organization will, move in the right direction or can do much better if the leader is able to look at some of these blind spots. And if you're able to put it across in a very mature and smart way, I think, yeah, that is probably one of the most challenging things, in my opinion.
Sure. So thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing that. I think, yeah, it's truly the spot that you can be in, with sort of, you know, you're the only one who has to manage it. in terms of communicating and convincing. Thank you, Latha.
Yeah. And if you,
Hmm.
you could be in a situation where there is no safety net, right?
Yeah.
But if you're really, really oriented towards growth, not just your own growth, obviously the organization's, growth, putting customers first, putting the larger organizational goal first, if you're able to take that little chance and convey what, your leader um, lacks or, gaps in a very, very nice manner. Of course, leader needs a coach. That's absolutely a given. There also should be processes and systems that supports your intervention, like for example, a 360-degree feedback from the larger group or the leadership team, not just for the leaders, but for everybody, right, including the founder. I think that is also a great step, and that is something that we were able to do in the organizations that I worked with. So yeah, so that also tells a lot, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, so I'll call it calculated risk taking, but yeah, going with conviction and doing it, I think, yeah, makes sense in terms of truly being at a growth mindset.
You need to have the courage to be able to do that.
Yes, Nariman, you want to say
So,
something?
yeah, this is a huge problem in organizations, especially when he or she is headstrong. And as Latha said, the company is doing very well, right? So he says, my way or the highway, why should I do it? I don't need it. There's no, and as Latha said, there's no straight formula for this, different strokes for different people. While I was listening, while I was going through this, the conversation, something struck me that maybe one good way to kind of convince the leader to inculcate growth mindset is if you as a HR person or as a learning and development person encourages the leader that, boss, why don't you go to Harvard for a 6 months training? If you can excite him or her, or you can enthuse that, go, check it out kind of thing, and the person goes and himself or herself experiences for themselves the wonders that a growth mindset can do. Maybe when he or she is back, that person can be a different person, and then kind of loosen up and open up and say, okay, Latha, let's start talking what we can do for the mid-level and the emerging leadership level. That could be one tactic or a strategy, maybe. I don't know. Just a thought. And I'm not an HR.
Yeah, no, that is very difficult, and a force may not be the answer. A coach can be an answer. Okay, a coach can definitely help influence the leader because he brings that expertise, he or she brings that expertise, and he's able to give that outside in view. He's able to ask the right set of questions and help the leader reflect, right? But as an HR person, there's a lot of data points that you can use to back your theory, to back your strategy, right? Data on engagement scores, data or feedback from employees, feedback from the leaders, direct reportees, voice of the organization, voice of the employees, and of course, it will somewhere show in your organizational results also. So your top line, your margins, all of those aspects, how you've grown year on year. Where are we against competition? What is something that's not working for us, whereas it's working for someone else, and why so, right? If you are able to do a lot of research around the internal and external factors, and of course, the client's feedback, customer feedback, on what's really helping, the organization grow, right? All of those aspects, if you're able to gather and put across in a very objective fashion, and with the help of a coach, I think you can make or influence the leader at the helm.
So can I add here?
Personally, like if I may say, so what I've seen working is, one is the 360 degrees feedback. So which means not just your direct reportees, but all, your various stakeholders, capture something, and, like that kind of gives a direction about where the leader may need to sort of work on or to grow further. And the other is to position it as a growth, again, not a correction, not trying to correct the leader, but like growing and grooming to the next level and the next opportunity, and present 2-3 opportunities and say that, if you like, we would like to groom you. Would you be open for that? Like take a coaching support, executive coaching, to grow to the next level. So those are some of the ways I've seen it work, because then there is less chance of getting defensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I add, Shika?
Yes, Sridhar, please go ahead.
It was
and
a
then
very
we'll probably wrap it up. We just have 5 minutes. Yeah.
just quick one point. What Latha raised was a very, very pertinent point. When I have a leader or a founder who is possibly a little bit conservative, that's what we would like to say, not growth oriented, then it's all about, my reputation as a HR manager. In my past, my reputation should speak so that he or she will know definitely that I put the company's interest ahead of any of our interests. So if I enjoy the kind of confidence, I think it will be less of a problem. But having said that, Latha or anybody, if you see 10 people who are not growth oriented, this could be one or two where the CEO or a founder is there. Other 7 or 8 should be in the middle management. I thought people who lack this growth mindset. This could be a rare case where the founder doesn't have the growth mindset. Otherwise, the organization is in difficulty. Thank you.
Sure.
So
Thank
that
you.
is a less of a problem, I would say, to encounter. More of middle managers who are, in the comfort zone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar. Yes, absolutely. Personal credibility matters. It's not just your past experience or, as a HR person, it's not just your background, but also after coming to the organization, what is the kind of credibility you're able to build? And you'll have to first establish that before you even attempt to give any feedback about anything.
Well said. Well said. Yeah.
Thank you, Latha. Thank you, everyone. This has been a great session, and I'm really glad everybody contributed, asked the questions, were here, conversing, making it more impactful. If you have any more questions, if you want to ask anything else to Latha, feel free to reach out to us. We'll sort of communicate with her and get back with her feedback. Latha, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm saying I'm no expert in growth, mindset. It's not like I've done some, I've written some theses, but it's just the experience that, has helped me learn about growth mindset. And that is something that I was able to share. I learned a lot from all of you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Shikha. Thank you so much, Anna and Rajat, for giving this opportunity to me. It was a wonderful and very interactive session. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you, Latha, and thank you for agreeing to take it from the airport. I'm glad everything worked out better, but truly shows your, belief and in doing things differently. And I'm really glad we got you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or otherwise.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been a great delight to host all of you multiple times. Please do send your feedback. We would like to make it as good as you would want. We are open to feedback.